this meeting, we want to say thank you, Lord. Thank you for seeing fit to put all of us back in place. Thank you for allowing us to wake up this morning. Thank you, Lord, for just saying that we are your servants and you want to continue to use us. Lord, we do not take that in robbery. Lord, I ask you to bless our hearts, our minds, Lord, to keep us in unison, to be able to represent the people that you put us in place to serve. Lord, I now want to say thank you for allowing me to serve with such an amazing group for a year in service. I don't take that for granted. Thank you for the leadership that we have here, Lord. Thank you for the leadership that we're about to put in place again, Lord. I ask you again to cover Judge Harold. Please cover him and his family. Lord, I know he's with you now and in a better place than we can imagine. But Lord, I ask you again to use our hearts, our mind, and our servitude to make sure that we keep you in glory. Lord, these are the things that we asked. Thank you again for allowing us to serve. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Beaman. Now, Mr. Clerk, if you would, please call the roll.
Well, Commissioner Stevenson.
Here.
Cochran. Here. Bojo. Here. Beaman.
Here.
Doss.
Here.
Quick.
Here.
Askew.
Here.
Collins.
Here.
Daniel.
Here.
Okay. And I trust that everybody had chance to look at our December 19th minutes. And if there were no additions or corrections from anyone, we will approve those by common consent. All right. And this time I'm going to call on Mr. Attorney.
Good evening, everybody. It's my privilege to preside over the election of our mayor for the year 2023. So at this time, I'm going to open the floor for nominations for the office of mayor for the city of Rome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I may jump out the gates first and put in form of motion the esteemed and the honorable Miss Sunday Stevenson. I think she has done an incredible job this past year on all our endeavors, and she continues to lead in a special way. You got her own style, but she does a really great job at what she do, and I put Miss Sunday Stevenson in the form of a motion for our next mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Collins. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Beaman.
Thank you.
Are there any other nominations for the office of mayor for the city of Rome for 2023?
I move to close nominations.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to close the nominations. Take a roll call.
Yeah. Stevenson.
Yes.
Cochran.
Yes.
Bojo.
Yes.
Beaman.
Yes.
Doss.
Yes.
Quick.
Yes.
Askew.
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes. Yes.
Congratulations, Mayor Sunday Stevenson.
I'm putting my purse up now. First, I want to say thank you, Commissioner Collins, for all those kind words. And y'all, I didn't pay him. I didn't pay him for that. But thank you so much, and I appreciate that. But to the fellow commissioners, I want to say thank you all for entrusting me another year to serve as mayor. It is my honor to do so. And, anytime if you see me kind of straying off, say, Sunday, I want to keep me humble and do what is right to put Rome forefront. We want to continue to be a beacon on the hill. So thank you all very much. I do appreciate that, and I don't take it lightly. Thank you. With that now, we need to elect a mayor pro tem, and the floor is now open for nominations.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to nominate my friend, Commissioner Mark Cochran.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Do I hear any other nominations? Hearing none. Okay, I'll ask Mr. Clerk to call the roll.
Commissioner Cochran,
Yes.
Bojo,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Dawes,
Yes.
Quick,
Yes.
Askew,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Congratulations.
When Commissioner Askew started that sentence out with my friend, I'm like, I'm sorry. Thank you all.
We'll
I
discuss that
appreciate it
later.
very much. I'll try to be proud.
We'll discuss the payment later.
Okay, thank you all so much for that. Now it's time for the city to appoint a city manager. Okay. Now take nomination. Yes, nomination, please. The floor is open for city manager.
I make a nomination that we appoint Sammy Rich as our city manager based on the outstanding job that he has done for the citizens of the city of Rome. Sammy had thick, bushy hair before he started dealing with commissioners.
It was actually a mullet, I think.
His only stress comes from the 9 of us sitting there. But I'm honored to make that nomination.
I have a
Second.
motion. Okay, and I have a second, okay?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Do I have any others?
I just would like to echo what Commissioner McDaniel said, that Sammy has done a great job for this city, and he does so much behind the scenes that it's unbelievable, and we should be rejoicing that we have him. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the kind words.
Mr. Clark, if you will.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Cochran,
Yes.
Bojo,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Dawes,
Yes.
Quick,
Yes.
Askew,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I'll shake your hand later, but I'm not gonna give you a hug.
I understand.
We're honored to have Sammy as our city manager. I think we're blessed.
Thank you so much.
We are a blessed city. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the city manager for your appointments.
Thank you all for the kind words, and it is absolutely my honor and privilege to get to do this job as city manager. And the reason that you guys, I think, are able to say kind words is because of this list of folks I'm about to read. And so, Madam Mayor, if you will allow me, I will read through the list of appointments. So for officials and authorized agents, City Commission Clerk and Secretary, Mr. Joe Smith, Assistant City Clerk and Secretary, Mr. Mark Green, City Attorney, who is coincidentally unavailable tonight because of a certain ball game, J. Anderson Davis, a list of Assistant City Attorneys, Frank Beecham, Stephen Mosley, Sam Lucas, and John Hawkins, Municipal Court Judge, Mr. Chris Jackson, or Assistant Municipal Court Judge, Mr. John Scott Husser. For City Physician, we have the Rome Floyd Wellness Center. Our official publication organ is the Rome News Tribune. We have several depositories and investment institutions: Bank OZK, Synovus, Greater Community Bank, First National Community Bank, Regions Bank, River City Bank, Truist Bank, United Community Bank, Wells Fargo, the local government investment pool for the state of Georgia, East West Bank. For auditor, we have Malden and Jenkins, certified public accountants. Under management staff, we have Assistant City Manager Meredith Ulmer, Assistant to the City Manager Kelly Parker, Water and Sewer Division Director Mike Hackett, Finance Division Director Tony Reinhardt, Public Works Division Director / Traffic Engineer Mr. Chris Jenkins. Under Department Directors, Fire Chief Troy Brock, Police Chief Denise Downer McKinney, Human Resources Director Ms. Christy Shepard, Community Development Director Ms. Becky Fox, City Clerk Joe Smith, Solid Waste Director Tim Garrett, Landfill Director Lee Stone, Purchasing Director Becky Smith, Building Official James Martin, Cemetery Superintendent Jody Gonzalez, Street Department Director Mr. Chad Hampton, Transit Director Ms. Kathy Shealy, City Engineering Director Aaron Carroll, City Arborist Ernest Watson, Water Treatment Facility Director Wayne Stanley, Water Reclamation Facility Director Mr. Jeff Hill, Water Billing Director Mr. Brian Paris, Water Sewer Operations Director Brandon Cook, Office of Technology Services Johnny Bunch, Downtown Development Director Ms. Andi Leslie, Planning Director for Rome Floyd Artagus Newell, the Rome Floyd Eco Center Keep Rome Floyd Beautiful Coordinator Ms. Hannah Bagley, and the Eco Center Director Mr. Ben Winkleman. Under other staff and operators, we have the Greater Rome Convention and Visitors Bureau Executive Director Ms. Lisa Smith. We have the Rome Tennis Center and the Downtown Tennis Center that is under management of Cliff Drysdale Tennis. And Stonebridge Golf Course, as you know, is managed by Indigo Sports. And that concludes my list of city manager appointments, Madam Mayor. And so I would ask for affirmation of these appointments.
Okay. Okay.
So moved.
Okay. I have
Second.
Okay. With that, Mr. Clerk, if you would, please call the roll.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Cochran? Yes. Bojo?
Yes.
Beeman?
Yes.
Dawes?
Yes.
Quick?
Yes.
Askew?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
McDaniel?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Been approved. And thank you to all our managers and our department heads. We appreciate what you do every day to make Rome look good. Thank you so much. And pass it on to your employees because we appreciate them. Yes, thank you. Okay. Now we would have a proclamation, and I'm going to call on Commissioner McDaniel.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Again.
Thank you.
I'm going to read this sitting here since Vince Dooley or Larry Munson or Kirby are not in the audience, but this is a City of Rome, Georgia proclamation. Whereas on Monday, January the 9th, 2023, the Georgia Bulldogs will face off against the Texas Christian University Horned Frogs in the College Football Playoff National Championship. And whereas following their historic national championship victory last season, this year's Georgia team has built their own legacy, of which the entire Bulldog Nation can be justifiably proud as they attempt to both defend their title and become the first undefeated squad since the famous 1980 national champion Dogs. And whereas, once again, led by quarterback and Heisman finalist Stetson Bennett, Georgia's offense has wowed fans with its high-scoring performances and produced points when called upon in the must-win moments. With the best tight ends in football in Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington, a nationally recognized offensive line, and a backfield and receiving core defined by their depth and adaptability, this unit has applied their next man up mentality to become one of the best offenses in UGA history. And whereas, following in the footsteps of 2021's generational defense, this year's defenders have set themselves apart in their own right, shutting down some of the best offenses in football. With Jalen Carter in the defensive line filling the interior, the linebacking core led by the pair of Smael Mondon and Jamin Dumas-Johnson making plays at every level, an experienced secondary including All-American Christopher Smith and Keely Ringo, and the leadership of Nolan Smith, both on and off the field, the Dogs' defense has silenced the doubters and proved a nightmare for opposing offenses all year. And whereas Coach Kirby Smart and his staff have put their team in position to reach the pinnacle of college football and become the first back-to-back national champion in nearly 20 years, and whereas in 2022, Georgians were invited to wear red and black on the day of the national championship and were rewarded with their first title in over 40 years. Now with a new breed of bulldog ready to take the field of battle, let us all once again rally behind the men who wear the red and black, and as the great Larry Munson once said, hunker down one more time. Now therefore be it resolved that on behalf of the Rome City Commission, I, Sunday Stevenson, Mayor of the City of Rome, do hereby proclaim January the 9th, 2023 as Hunker Down Day in the City of Rome, given my hand and seal this the 9th day of January in the year of our Lord 2023.
Say that again, would you?
One more.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You don't have to get it.
All right, thank you, sir.
And they kick off at 7:45.
Yeah, so you know what that means. Okay, thank you. Okay, we have one registered guest, Mr. John Johnston, and I don't see him in the audience tonight, so we're gonna move on, okay?
Good job.
We have one resolution, and I'm gonna call on Mr. Clark.
Yes, ma'am. As you all probably realize, we have a big city election later this year, and state law requires that we set our qualifying fees and publish those early in the year. So that is why the resolution is before you tonight. Once again, our qualifying fees will be 3% of the annual salary. For the city commission candidates this year, that will mean a qualifying fee of $360. And qualifying period, as you can read, will take place in late August.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir.
So, yeah, motion to
I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please, Mr. Clerk.
Commissioner Cochran,
Yes.
Bojo,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
Quick,
Yes.
Askew,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have several items to go on first reading. Now, again, call on Mr. Clerk.
Yes, ma'am, you do. We do have several. These come to us from the Planning Commission primarily, 5 rezoning and SUP files. The first, Z23 1-1, is the request regarding 1148 North Broad Street, and that request is to rezone from community commercial to urban mixed use. That does come to you with a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission with conditions. Second file, Z23 1-3, involves a tract of property located at 2781 North Broad Street. The request is to rezone that tract of property, actually two tax map parcels, from high-density traditional residential to multifamily residential. That comes to you with a 5-to-1 vote from the Planning Commission to deny. The third file, Z23-1-5, involves 303 East First Avenue. That request is to rezone from community commercial to urban mixed use. The next two files are side by side on East Main Street. The first, SUP 23-1-1, the request to construct a duplex on property at 117 East Main Street, which is zoned low-density traditional residential. The second SUP, file 23-1-2, is also a request for a duplex at 115 East Main Street. That property is also zoned low-density traditional residential. The next item for first reading is the annual action of readopting the Unified Land Development Code and the updates that have been approved over the last year and the updated zoning maps. Next is an item regarding our comprehensive plan, 5-year update to the short-term work program found within the Rome-Floyd Cave Spring Comprehensive Plan. And the final item for first reading tonight comes to you from the Alcohol Control Commission, and that is a recommended amendment to our alcohol ordinance, establishing a new category of pouring establishments and the definition and restrictions that go with that category, and it is known as the small bar ordinance. All these items are scheduled for action at our next meeting. The first 6 items will be public hearing. I'm not sure if item G requires a public hearing. If so, we'll conduct one. And the final item will not be a public hearing, will be scheduled for second reading.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, we have one item on second reading. And we had tabled that.
That item was tabled at our last meeting.
Yeah, last meeting,
It will remain on the table until action
yes.
to remove it.
Okay, do I hear any action?
So help me understand, in order for us to discuss it or bring it back up for a vote, it has to be
Taken off the table. Taken off the table,
taken off the table?
yes.
So I'll make a motion that we take it off the table.
I have a motion to take this item off the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, Mr. Clerk, if you will, please call the vote.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Cochran,
Yes.
Bojo,
Yes.
Beeman,
So yes means for it to,
Come off the table.
okay, yes, okay, yes. Okay.
Dawes,
Yes.
Quick,
Yes.
Askew,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Okay. With that, we can, do we want to have another public hearing, or can we just,
Well, I'll defer to our
Yes,
assistant city attorney,
yeah.
but we've had our one public
Public
hearing
hearing.
regarding this already.
I think the applicant is here. Now, are we correct in thinking that the commissioners, if they have questions for the applicant, they can ask the applicant questions without doing a public hearing? Am I correct with that? Correct. Okay.
Can the
Okay.
applicant introduce new evidence?
Yeah. Or provide supplemental information.
I guess if those items are in response to a question from, I don't think the intent is to allow, a speech to be given, but rather to question. So that's what we're all got, so if they have, documents or evidence that they'd like to submit in response to a question or in a clarification, then I believe that would be acceptable.
Okay. All right.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Madam Mayor? Does the applicant have any additional data to present regarding sound abatement?
So regarding the sound, no.
Ma'am, if you would please go to the podium and give us your name and your address. Thank you.
Olivia Wang, 5 Westside Industrial Boulevard, Rome, Georgia. No, I do not have additional evidence for the sound aspect other than everything I said last time.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions here on my left?
I'm sorry.
None here on my left? Okay.
Yes,
Mr. Nick.
I do have one question.
Yes.
Ms. Wang, are there municipalities or states that have banned cryptocurrency mining that you're aware of?
So upstate New York and Washington State both have a moratorium on new cryptocurrency mining entering the area. But if you were grandfathered in those regions, you can continue to operate. The moratorium is only for newcomers.
Are there countries or nations that have banned cryptocurrency mining that you're aware of?
China has completely banned it as of late summer, early fall of 2021. Yeah.
Do you know why they banned them?
Why they banned them? They referring to Washington State, New York, upstate New York, and China, or just one of them?
China.
I am actually not sure. Based on reports I've read, it's due to multiple things. One of them being the prices of natural resources increasing. China burns a lot of coal for electricity, and the cost was apparently too high.
That's all I have.
Do you know the reason for the moratorium in the northeast of the United States?
So I can personally speak for Plattsburgh, New York, because my friend's actually from there. So in Plattsburgh, New York, a little background on where that is. It's located by Niagara Falls. Their power is generated by hydro. Now, way back after World War II, the whole town got transferred over from natural gas to electricity because, again, there's the hydropower. They're making it very affordable, actually more affordable than natural gas. So the whole town changed its heating system, everything, over to electricity. And then once the cryptocurrency miners started coming in, they started using the power from the hydro dam as well, which then increased the residents' costs. But based on my understanding, in the state of Georgia, it's not solely run on hydropower. There's a mix that Georgia Power utilizes. For Plattsburgh, that's actually a municipality electrical group, and that the hydro dams there only feeds the local neighboring neighborhoods.
One additional question. Size-wise, how would you compare your presentation to other crypto mining facilities around?
So I would say, especially in comparison to the ones that have gone public on the stock exchange, I'm very, very small. Taking one down in Texas, for example, I believe they're called Whinstone, part of Riot. They are one of the larger ones in the industry that have gone public, meaning being traded on the stock exchange. They are, based on when I last read it, they are starting a 1 gigawatt facility in, I don't recall the city, but it's somewhere in Texas. But I'm only 5 megawatts. So 5 megawatts out of 1 gigawatt, I am very, very tiny.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
I have a quick question, if I may.
Oh, sorry.
Ms. Warren, could you tell me the location in which you chose to have this zone for and place this here device? Do you honestly feel in your heart that it has no kind of nuisance bearing on this closest settlement? There is a settlement behind Walmart. Do you envision it being any louder than the train that come through there?
Oh.
And is it a constant noise?
So the sounds produced by the exhaust fans, unfortunately, are constant. But like I said last time, the sound-bearing wall that I'll be putting up can absorb 50 to 80% of the sound emitted. That's right at the source of sound already. Now, I am unsure of the settlement you mentioned that's behind Walmart. Is that a residential area?
Yes, it's just right across. You go to the front of Walmart, you're looking at it.
So if I'm going down Redmond Circle, West Side Industrial Boulevard is here, Walmart's here, you're talking about this side, correct?
Yeah, the front entrance.
Okay, I don't foresee any sound bearing on them any louder than the baseline background noise that's already existing in that area, which, as I mentioned last time, is between 55 to 69.9 decibels.
Mr. Director, Ortega, do you agree with that?
I'm sorry, Commissioner, can you repeat the question?
My question to Ms. Warren was the noise that'll be generated by these units. Do she feel honestly that it has no opportunity for it to be a nuisance to the nearest public community?
I think from the staff standpoint, what we have to go on is what Ms. Wayne provided in her application with the decibel readings in that chart. If I remember correctly, I left my paper at the front. I'm sorry, I can grab it, but I believe this would be at around a 50 decibel mark, which is general conversation level. And then, of course, as you go further away, that decreases. It's my understanding that with this process that I call them servers, I'm not sure if that's the right terminology, but it is, okay, that is, they run constantly, and that there is, that emittance of noise, because in order for the process to work, it's my understanding that it has to keep running. So there would be noise at that level. I don't believe, from my understanding, that it would increase, but that it would stay steady, but it would be constant. If you're close by, walking by, driving by, maybe you might notice that. For the residents that are further down, I can't say with any certainty that they will or will not notice at certain times. That's probably going to depend on tree cover, the time of year, those, any other structures that might be there to buffer or not the sound.
Mr. Attorney, at some point in time, say that information turned out to be a nuisance. Does it give us the power to address it? To come back and say, hey, wait a minute.
I think you asked, let me make sure I got the question right. I think you asked if it turns out that the structure emits more noise than what has been represented here tonight, would we have recourse? I don't think we would have recourse unless this body made the maximum decibels a condition of granting the application. And I do have some concerns about enforceability of that, condition. We're talking about 50 to, did you say 59.9 or 60?
50 to 69.9 is the baseline background noise currently at Redmond Circle in my
And that's based on a
That's based on a study published by the Department of the U.S. Department of Transportation.
The reason I make mention of this is such new to myself.
Definitely.
And we only have her word to go off of this. So if you telling me that we could put it in the condition.
May I offer something? This is the same offer that I had offered to Cedartown. So if any, complaints come up or anything that arises that's brought to either one of yours attention, I am willing to put up even further, take even further action to put up more sound barriers. Increase it to more than what I already have planned on doing.
Is the one in Cedartown up and running?
No, the one in Cedartown is not up and running yet.
Let me ask a question right quick, not to interrupt. Do you have permission to operate in Cedartown?
Yes, correct, I do.
Okay. When is that going to be operational?
I got my permit. Now it's just up to Georgia Power how fast they can run their lines.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's out of my control.
That's all right. Just one other quick question. Is this something that Georgia Power is welcoming with open arms?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
They sent a letter.
I'm sorry, what? I didn't hear
Is
the.
this something that Georgia Power is welcoming with open arms?
Yes, so if you, I submit, along with my application, I submitted a letter from Georgia Power stating that my operation does not put any stress on the current electrical system, nor will it interfere with any future plans that the city of Rome may have in the future, anything that they may want to pursue. It does not interfere with any of it. And I believe someone actually reached out to the Georgia Power representative who wrote the letter inquiring about this. I am unsure who it was.
She gave us a letter from Georgia.
Okay. And Madam Mayor, if I may, just one other quick thing.
Go ahead.
Let me, just from the fact that I had to sit in on your last hearing, apologize for my chair that you had to be subjected to bringing up your race and your country, etc., to get to this point to have a fair and equal opportunity to speak. For my chair, I apologize on behalf of any person that come to that podium would be subjected to such.
Thank you. But there's no need for apology. The person who spoke up in that position does not represent you or the City of Rome. So far, my experience in the City of Rome has been very nice, very welcoming.
Thank you.
I have a question.
I've got two more. What is your capital investment?
Henceforth, I've spent close to $6 million on equipment, along with like all the equipment that it takes for construction for me to run this whole project. And that's all privately funded. I am not part of Sequoia Capital, like a resident who spoke in opposition last time said. The Olivia Wang that's on Forbes 30 under 30 is actually not me. We differ by our age as well as initial. So her middle initial is S. Her full name is Olivia S. Wang, and I'm just Olivia Wang, and she's a few years older than I am. And needless to say, I am not being funded by Sequoia Capital. This is solely funded by myself as well as my family.
And one other question. I know you're aware of the of the General Electric plant there and the amount of contamination from PCBs. And I know the adjacent property, I think the dentist office there maybe had done, I'm not positive, but I think there was a settlement with GE on PCBs on that property. There's a significant amount of contamination leaving from GE and traveling southwest. Are there PCBs on this property?
So,
Mr. McDaniel, when I closed the transaction, I was concerned about PCB on the property. So I contacted my title insurance company.
I'm going to interrupt you, I'm sorry, just for a minute. Would you give us your name and
I'm
address?
sorry,
Okay,
Sid Wright.
please. Thank you.
210 East 2nd Avenue, Suite 100. When I was closing the transaction for Ms. Wang, its proximity to sites on the hazardous waste inventory concerned me. I contacted my title insurance company and said, what do we do about this? And they said, well, we understand that it has contaminants in it. It has PCB. But because it's not on the index, basically from a title insurance standpoint, you don't have to write an exception to it. So the short answer is, yes, it has some measure of contaminants, but not enough for it to be on the hazardous site inventory.
Are there any monitoring stations on it?
On your property? Okay.
So yes, there are. It's outside of the gate. There are 2 active wells that they collect samples from. I don't recall if it was twice a year or once a year.
And my guess is with the activity of the equipment that there's going to be some vibration. Is there vibration? I mean, just noise. Is there vibration?
I mean, there's vibration caused by cars driving by every day. Yeah, so I wouldn't be introducing anything more than that. Like, I don't think that would be a concern.
That's all I got.
And so PCB is only of a concern when it comes to water. I actually don't need water or sewer on site. This is an unmanned site.
Commissioner Collins, may I respond to a question you asked earlier about the subdivision near Walmart? As part of my research and getting preparation, I did a line of sight distance to the various areas. To the subdivision, which is to the west of Walmart, west and back of Walmart, at its closest point is over 1,200 feet away. Similarly, Garden Lakes on the opposite direction is more than 1,400 feet away. So the disposition can't speak tonight. the lessening of the sound level over distance will be significant over that period of time, given the drop off over distance.
Thank you.
Do I have any other, before I go here?
My question is simply, do you have a letter from Dr. Muller giving his approval, or?
No, we do not, but I was, what struck me about the last meeting, of the people who were in the zone and who would have some concern for it, Dr. Muller, the LLC that owns the property that Dr. Muller's property is on, Wiretech, all the adjacent property owners and surrounding property owners, none of them showed up to object. None of them have, to my understanding, no one was here last week. I've not heard ourselves, because of course they could have gotten a copy of our petition and contacted us. Apparently they're not concerned with it. Otherwise they would be at least at the December 19th hearing to raise objection.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Yes, sir.
So my question's for Ms. Wang. First of all, you may not be the 30 under 30, Ms. Wang, but you're still a very impressive young lady.
Thank you.
But you said that you're willing to add additional sound barrier if there's still a problem. How much will that reduce the existing?
More calculations would have to be done. Right now, all I can speak for is based on my current plans, it will reduce 50 to 80% of what's being emitted. Anything further, I would have to do more calculations. But I do have to say and stress that sound cannot be eliminated down to zero. Again, the baseline background noise in that area is 50 to 69.9 decibels, and it is impossible, even if you're deep in the woods, to bring down sound to 0 decibels.
Any other questions?
I saw, and Mayor Stevenson,
Yes.
can I speak?
Yes.
I said, I've read that there were numerous lawsuits about the noise. My concern is that it's a consistent noise that will continue to go on, that people are saying that they're wearing earplugs, and some of the residents are complaining. I'm just concerned about the consistency of the noise.
If I may address that, and this goes hand in hand, I think, with some of the articles that were annotated in the Planning Commission's, the Planning Director's recommendation. What you're looking at is, in all of those articles, these were cryptocurrency mines that were put in rural or areas or mountainous areas because, one, land was cheap, and two, there was no zoning in those areas, okay? And so what happened was, in one of them, in Murphy, North Carolina, I'm not sure if the crypto miner was either a fool or arrogant, but he put his crypto mine within 100 feet of a single family residence. I mean, that's just stupid. I mean, that's shooting yourself in the foot, in my opinion. We're not doing that. Again, if you recall from the last meeting, we are counter-rotating the containers so that Dr. Muller's office will be to the rear. The fans will be pointed south towards the old Lowe's site. So there will be de minimis sound from the rear, plus you're going to have the additional sound absorbing material, which is, which will further reduce the crowd. As far as the sound itself, in at least two of those articles, they said they tried to negotiate a resolution by having those crypto mines go to an area zone heavy industrial. We sought that out in the first instance because she knows this industry backwards and forwards, and this was a red flag. So she went and looked for an area of the type that had been recommended where this should be. And that's why she bought the property, because it had HI zoning.
So I wanted to add on to that. I hope that I am demonstrating the fact that I am not trying to repeat the mistakes that others have made in this industry. It is unfortunate that others in this industry has ruined the reputation for the rest of us. I am learning from their mistakes. I drafted a plan to ensure that the same mistakes do not occur in my operation. And I'm willing to work with the City of Rome to join hands with you guys to work out any problems that there may be. And again, like my attorney, Mr. Wright, just said, I am in a heavy industrial area. The property is heavy industrial zoned. Had I wanted to take any shortcuts, I can easily do what others in this industry have done and just go to a extremely rural area with absolutely no zoning. And if problems occur, the local government can't do anything about it because there were no zoning at the time, you know. But me here, I'm trying to be a compliant business owner. I located myself where, based on other precedent, had recommended an operation like mine to be located in an industrial area. And I put together a plan to make sure that the same mistakes, the sound, does not happen to my operation. Unfortunately, sound, like I said, cannot be reduced to zero, but I am taking every single possible effort that I can do to reduce it so that it will be below or be in line with the baseline background noise. And it will not cause a major disturbance to the current sound level of where I'm situated.
Do I have any other questions?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Consistent with Ms. Wing's promise to work with the city to abate any noises that would be considered to be a nuisance, I move that with those conditions we approve this request.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. In discussion.
Just
Are you voting on the recommendation of the Planning Commission as it, on their recommendation?
Vote for it to be approved.
We're voting for it to be approved, but with her
agreeing
to work with us if.
Right. The point I'm trying to make, Mr. Fisher, is this: the Planning Commission had taken out a condition that the Planning Director's Office had put in, which would allow special use permit, but would permit any variance or anything other than strict compliance with side yard setbacks.
Okay.
As I mentioned in my earlier thing, that gives us about a tenth of an acre in 2.5 acres to build anything, and we can't build anything there because that tenth of an acre is under the Georgia Power right-of-way, and you can't build in the Georgia Power right-of-way. So unless, if you impose the condition that we have to strictly comply with the existing side yards and setbacks, no variances, it doesn't matter what you do here, we can't do anything even if you give us a special use permit.
Madam Mayor, I recommend that we hear from Montague to figure out exactly what it is.
We have something from Mr. Attorney, so I want to hear from our attorney. Go ahead, Mr. Attorney, if you will.
I think it's two things. It's that I believe we should stick with, and Artegas will address that, the conditions that the Planning Commission approved, which
Yes, sir.
were recommended by planning staff.
Yes, sir.
But if you want to add the sound requirement to the conditions, I do not believe the sound requirement was in the list of conditions. So
we have, there were three conditions that the staff originally had on, should the application be approved. The Planning Commission recommended approval with 2 of those 3 conditions, numbers 2 and 3. And Madam Mayor, if it's okay, I'll read those.
Please.
The staff recommends that the proposed development be required to install sound dampening walls to keep the noise within the property. Staff recommends that a vegetative buffer of evergreen trees no less than 6 feet in height at the time of planting be installed and maintained along any and all front property lines.
Would you read the one about sound again, please?
Yes, sir. Staff recommends that the proposed development be required to install sound dampening walls to keep the noise within the property.
Well, I would state the way Ms. Wang stated it, which is that approved with the condition that the sound not cause the background decibels as measured by the government agency that she quoted to exceed where they are now. That's what I think needs to happen in sound.
So I heard Ms. Wang say that if we still had a problem with the sound, that she would take more action.
That was what was part of my,
So what the, sorry, can I see? So what the City of Rome had me do, City of Cedartown had me do was to submit a letter. I call it a promissory letter, just to state and sign that I will be willing to, I forgot exactly what the letter said, but the overall idea was that I'm willing to work with the city to take additional measurements if noise end up being an issue to the surrounding neighborhood. But knowing that sound can never be diminished to 0.
So I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think we like the Cedartown idea.
I was just asking, would that letter be necessary if we put that's part of the motion? And she agreed to it, so would, Mr. Attorney, I just talked to the clerk, but Mr. Attorney, I'm asking you, would we need a letter if that is made a part of the motion? And it's in there?
I don't see that making any more difference.
If you want to do a decibel, you have to do it a specific way. You have to be at a right angle from the noise. It's ruled by it's calculated by the inverse square wall, which it falls off not quite exponentially logarithmically to start, but then if you notice that the decibel readings at 100 feet, 150 feet, 175 feet, 200 feet, 250 feet, they're all within 2 to 3 decibels of each other, which means that anything past roughly 1/2 of where they start, 100 feet or so, it's going to be a constant noise of 50 decibels. Am I right, Sammy? Is that? Yeah. So if the sound abatement walls that they're proposing to put up work, and the general GDOT rule is you can get about 10 decibels reduction in the ones that you see between interstates and houses. If those work, that's fine, but it would be, I think it might be a mistake to not put a distance and a decibel level with it.
You know, one of the things that bothers me just a little bit, you're talking about turning your fans and blowing it toward the old Lowe's property. Mm-hmm. What if somebody wants to build there? What if a business wants to come in there?
Ms. Mojo, that's the site to the south of us.
I know where it
is on the hazardous site inventory.
But what if somebody wants to go in, clean it up, and put something there? I mean, you're going to be.
It's going to be prohibitively expensive to do that. Could it happen? Sure, but it's going to be prohibitively expensive to do so.
That's why I used the word if.
It is zoned.
Mr. Attorney, we have a motion and a second on the floor here.
That's correct.
And we really kind of.
I just thought we were trying to clarify the condition related to sound.
I think it's duly noted through the clerk and the exact language that the motion laid out. It's duly noted, exactly what she said.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Got a motion and a second?
And I think that we're in the discussion phase right now. So, okay. Do we have any more discussion? Anybody on my left? Any other discussion? Anyone on my right? Any other discussion? Okay, here and now, Mr. Clark, if you would, please call the roll.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we hear the motion?
Motion one more time.
Okay, read.
Motion that I have is to approve the request as submitted for the special use permit with conditions 2 and 3 as outlined in the Planning Commission report, along with the promise of Ms. Wang to increase her sound buffer should that need arise in the future. That's what I have.
That's what I
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clark.
Are you ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cochran?
No.
Bojo?
No.
Beeman?
No.
Doss?
Yes.
Quick?
Yes.
Askew?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
McDaniel? Madam Mayor, I have 4 yes, 4 no votes.
No.
Motion fails.
All right, thank you.
Could I request this be without prejudice?
Mr. Attorney? Yes.
I would suspect that action could be in the future to allow it to reappear should they choose. I believe we've got a history of going that approach, Mr. Attorney.
I think this body, well, maybe the planning commission has the discretion to hear things faster than the ULDC.
To reduce to 6 months.
Specific reasons. Which I think is about the same thing as doing it.
So that time limit, so is that 6, what is it that they can read?
So if it's without prejudice, with prejudice is a minimum of a year, without, come back sooner than that. And so, I don't know if we've had a history of
We have.
allowing the,
yes, sir.
you might want to speak to that.
Applicants have come back at the commission's discretion sooner.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. Nothing is continued on first reading. We have no public hearings. Mr. Clark?
No report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have one item that I would ask for some action on tonight, and that is I would ask for a motion to approve, to actually ratify action of the City of Rome acquiring approximately 47 plus or minus acres that is directly east of the 10-acre parcel that the City of Rome owns, which is now home to DFAX and the Senior Center. And this parcel is two parcels currently in ownership by Environmental Rehab LLC, and that amount would be $400,000. And we would need action on that tonight, Madam.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for us to purchase that.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion. Mr. Clerk, you will call the roll.
Commissioner Cochran?
Yes.
Bojo?
Yes.
Beeman?
Yes.
Doss?
Yes.
Quick?
Yes.
Askew?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
McDaniel?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. My second item is simply an announcement that City of Rome Administrative Offices, we will be closed Monday, January 16th in observance of the Martin Luther King holiday. Monday solid waste garbage routes will be serviced on Tuesday, January 17th. Tuesday routes will be serviced on Wednesday, the 18th. No change Thursday, Friday. Additionally, the Walker Mountain landfill will be closed all day on the 16th. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Attorney. Thank you, sir. Quickly under my time, the 2023 Rome City Commission date changes. You know, every year we have our annual GMA annual conference, and the normal commission meeting on Monday, June the 26th, we will move it up to Tuesday, June the 20th. And during Christmas week, our Monday, December the 5th meeting will be moved a week earlier to Monday, December the 18th. And then also, item B, the Rome Floyd County Development Authority will have its strategic planning session on Friday, January the 27th. The regular monthly meeting will not be held on January 17th, will take place during the Planning Commission. This time, we do not have a specific time and a location, but that will be announced later. And briefly, Mr. Alvin Jackson, under my time, if you could briefly go to the podium and give us the schedule of Martin Luther King week. Yeah, the phrase, right. The activities that's coming up this weekend in observance of Martin Luther King holiday. Give us your name and address, please, sir.
All right, thank you. Alvin Jackson, Vice Chair of the ML King Commission. I was mayor as the chairman of the commission, as a matter of fact. And we have 4 straight consecutive days of activities planned. We'll be here beginning Friday night with our talent show, which Ms. Beeman chairs that for the commission, so she's put together a wonderful program on Friday night. Then on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, we will have our annual prayer breakfast at Lovejoy Baptist Church. Mr. Christian Barnes, who is the new principal at Rome Middle School, will be our keynote speaker. Tickets are $15 and tables are $75, which a table seats 6. So if you get a table, you can save one of those tickets. Then on Sunday, we will have our ecumenical service at First United Methodist Church, where Reverend Robert Brown is the pastor. Keynote speaker for that event is R.L. White. He's a nationally known speaker, minister out of Atlanta, Georgia. Then on Monday morning, we'll assemble at the corner of Broad and First Avenue for our annual Freedom March, which begins at approximately 11:30. We'll proceed up Broad Street to the auditorium here, where we have our noonday program. Reverend Stephen Samuels, who is the son of Miss Willie Mae Samuels, will be our keynote speaker for that event. Immediately following that, we will have our fellowship luncheon at the Civic Center. And in saying all that, I'd like to say we were the first here in Rome and Floyd County to have 4 consecutive days of celebration. The only thing we charge for is our prayer breakfast, because there's a charge involved with the catering. And I'd like to thank the city, who's always sponsored this event. We do appreciate it. We thank you a lot. And it's something I think we should be proud of, because we had the first 4 consecutive days of celebration. This is my 36th year. I'm one of the founding members, and we're looking for new members, younger members, because I can't hardly make it up Broad Street now. But we hope you can come out and attend. If you can't attend all of them, please do your best to attend one of them. Like I say, it's a wonderful time. It gives us an opportunity to celebrate one of the greatest people legacies in the history of this country. And I would be remiss if I didn't say this. It all started right here at this city commission meeting back around 1985-86. I sat here almost 6 hours that night going through a meeting with the city commission to make it a holiday here in Rome and Floyd County. And it was back and forth, 4 to 6 hours. It came out full. And the chairman at that time was Buddy Mitchell, and I'll never forget what he said. He threw his hand down. He said, "Enough is enough. We're going to do this." And he was a tiebreaker to make this holiday a regular holiday in the city of Rome. So again, I thank you. I look forward to seeing you at one of the events, if not all the events, and thank you for your support.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jackson. All right, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner Cochran.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Finance will meet Wednesday, January 18th, 10:30 in the Sam King Room, and Public Works is currently set to meet this Wednesday, the 11th, at 10 o'clock in the Sam King Room. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Bojo.
One meeting announcement, Transportation Policy Committee will meet Wednesday, the 18th, 10 o'clock in the Carnegie Room. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, sir. Commissioner Beaman.
3 committee meetings. The Alcohol Control Commission will meet Tuesday, January the 17th at 5 o'clock p.m. in the commission chambers. Under the Historic Preservation Committee, the Historic Preservation Committee will meet Wednesday, January the 18th at 2:30 p.m. in the Sam King Room. And under Keep Rome Floyd Beautiful, the commission will meet Monday, January the 23rd at 4 o'clock p.m. at the Eco Center. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Dowse.
Very quickly, Mayor, I've got some super news if you're a trail user and a trail believer. We have now a full-time designated trail person, Julie Smith, that will be working in our transportation department. She's will be under the city and county, but this is great news. This is a first time for the city of Rome and Floyd County to have a designated trail person. Thank you. That's my report.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Quick.
Just one committee meeting announcement. The Downtown Development Authority will meet this Thursday at 8:30 a.m. in the Carnegie Training Room, and that's my report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Askew.
No report.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Collins.
Just community development has been rescheduled.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner McDaniel.
Northwest Georgia Regional Commission will meet Thursday, January the 19th at 11 a.m. at the Rome Civic Center. The Rome Floyd Parks and Recreation Board will meet Tuesday, January 17th at 12 p.m. at the Gilbreth Center. And the Parks Hoke Park ribbon cutting dedication will be held on Wednesday, January the 18th at 1 p.m. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. If nothing else before us
I got one thing that, Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I did receive a phone call, and I don't know if it might have been discussed while I was gone, out or et cetera, but Commissioner also did reach out to me this here week and share with me the good news, the fact that Rome and Floyd County will be receiving $5 million for the property at Northwest Regional to do the due diligence that Sam and the rest of them at the Development Authority has to do.
That's correct, sir. 5.1 million we did receive. Yes, that was great news.
Yeah, it is great news.
And we did send a letter of thanks to both centers for all that they did to help us
So
with that.
thank you for all your hard work, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Make that happen.
Thank you. All right, with that, we are adjourned.
No dog.